Hello, everyone. How are you? Thanks for joining. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see who's here. 420 Wild Dragon, welcome. You are the first here in the Chatmosphere. So happy to see you. Sharon, hello. I love it, the Get Fresh crew. That's great. Hello, Molly. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. This is the most fun that I have had learning, period. Hands down. Roxanne from Detroit, hello. Sean, hello. Jamie, hello. Tina, I love you. Thank you so much. You are so good to have as a fellow sister because, like I said, everybody, Tina here, she has been on this journey longer. So it's great when I see her comments because, she really gets it. Like, it's like having somebody, anybody would benefit from having someone kind of ahead of them a little bit with this stuff. We're all still being like mind blown. It's always something new. But I really do appreciate you, Tina. CW, hello, Professor Jennifer. That's so funny to even be considered a professor. But I think that if you're always a student, like you love to learn, and I told you all my style of learning is to discuss it and then have you engage with me. That is my style of learning. Ernestina in Buenos Aires, hello, good vibes to you. Nixon, hey, we missed you. I haven't seen you. Has it been like a one live? You're usually here, Nixon. Hello. Penny Lane Banks, hello there. Julie, you're here. Yay. 8 Win, you're here. Yay. Hello. Greetings to you. Love, laugh, live. Good evening to you. Dave Walker, hello. Just going to say hello to a few people if you all don't mind. Sean, you're addicted to learning. That's not a bad addiction, I would say. Julianne, hello. Hello. And Emily. Okay, so that's going to be the hellos for now. And I'm going to jump right in and I'll check with the Chatmosphere to see how everyone's doing. So tonight, my title is Gilgamesh, the Architect. Can you imagine? Do you all know about Gilgamesh? Because I have to be honest, I did not know about Gilgamesh. I've heard the name used. Didn't they have a Smurf that used the name Gilgamesh? Tell me, wasn't there like a Smurf? I didn't like the Smurfs a lot, but I mean, I know about the references. Those kind of cartoons used to annoy me. I didn't like those kind of things. Remember, I explained to you guys, I liked more of the puppet shows, like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't like cartoons so much. Yes, we're going to bring it, Julianne. Are you going to hang out with me a little bit late? This is night class, okay? Abe, you're here. Hello from Sin City, sending love. Thank you, sending love back to you. Thank you for joining. Golden Chris, Gargamel. Oh, is that another? Oh, wait, that's the name of the Smurf. It was Gargamel. Well, why am I thinking Gilgamesh? Do you think maybe they were trying to do a play on words? Let me know because I'm just like, I don't know. But okay, Gilgamesh is a figure in history. I'll say history right now. You all can correct me. We can have a nice exchange and debate on things. And remember, everyone, I am very new to this research. So I love to see what other people are thinking, how you're processing, because it will help me to consider other points of view. I have watched a lot of the Mudflood thought leaders, I guess you could say, the ones that are, the basic like core that you're recommended to watch. Like when people say, oh, you should check this person out. I've watched so many of them and they are absolutely amazing. Joseph O'Sullivan was the one that got me started on the, it's like, that's the ones that everybody seems to recommend. But I have to say, I am learning more and more. This is like going back to school. I swear it is so much fun. More fun. Okay, so I'm going to greet everybody. I'm going to jump into the slides. So this is Gilgamesh we're talking about. Gilgamesh was a builder. Gilgamesh was an architect. And just so you all know, that architects and builders basically did this. I mean, they did the blueprint. An architect builder back then knew how to do. Remember, we read about they knew how to do the interior design, exterior. They knew how to do all of it. Like, it was amazing. So they were cross-disciplinary. So we want to talk about the Great Flood as well. I don't know how many of you would feel that you're very well versed in the Great Flood, but I have to say that for me, I didn't know much about it other than the cute little stuff that you hear as a little kid. And, you know, just the surface of it, but I never gave it very deep thought, right? Oh, that's a good name. I love that you are sharing that, Abe. Autodidactic is a really good channel. Yes. I love autodidactic. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Fink. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and all conspiracy theories are welcome. So look at this. I know this looks really fancy. This is the new book that I have to use right now. I couldn't get a book right now. So guess what? I had this book set up to do something special. I've had it for like maybe 3-4 years. See that? And you like cover it. See what I'm saying? Like cover it. And you know, my favorite pencils. Oh, one of them flew away. I have my black wing pencils. So I had to use this book that I was putting up for a special thing. And I think this is special. So it couldn't be more special for me to use this book. And I write really big, so I don't care. I'm going through pages fast. But these books are they're going to come in handy. Yeah, you like this Golden Crisp? I actually, I don't know. You know when you just find things at the bookstore and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to do something special. And you put it up and you're waiting for what? And I was like, nope, I need this and it's going to be used. 8 Wind is timeless, says Marduk. Gilgamesh grandfather built zigzag type of palace. Ooh. Wow, wowzers. Heidi, hello. Heidi said Martin Lichtke is the bomb on all things Tartaria, Mudflood, Antiquitect, Nasmia. Oh, those are some new names. I have to remember that, Heidi. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah. And John Levy. Oh, yeah. John Levy is so good. I love his style. He talks with the very relaxed. It's almost like the, what is it? What is it? You know, they talk really, really soft and it puts you in a meditative mood. But I love him. And yes, thank you. Share it with other people so that they will know this is what we do. Johnny Borealis, hello. Perfect. The IS special, perfect timing for the book. Tell me more about that, Johnny. I don't know what you mean. What is the IS special? Yes, that's it. ASMR. I love you, Golden Chris. Thank you. ASMR, where you're like eating your crab legs and you're like, hello, I'm cracking the crab legs. Oh my God, how crazy. That's when you know we have jumped the shark in our society, right? People watch other people eat. It is crazy, right? Hello, Abby. Kind of monotone. Yes, I like that. You know, it kind of reminds me of Paul Romano. You know, I've been on a Paul Romano kick. Oh my God, today, you know how you could kind of fan out on your favorite like people? Paul Romano, when I I just told him I really appreciate. He's been an OG on YouTube, everybody. Don't act like Paul Romano is new to this, okay? He is true to this. Anybody who knows, they know Paul Romano was kicking the truther stuff way back when. A lot of those same people, they are gone with the wind, baby. We don't know where they are. We pray they're okay, but Paul Romano is a warrior. I told him, I said, I remember when you were breaking down those Full House videos and you were exposing the weirdness behind that. And you heard about the one of the fathers from the Full House TV show passed away suddenly in a hotel room. Watch Paul Romano, Pockets of the Future. Gosh, he is like, he's breaking down a lot of things, but I love him. Yes, that's another one. Cool Guitar Gear is a good one. Yes, short videos, cute, quick snippets. Yes, good, 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 Tina. I like him a lot. Yes, so, all right. Let's see. Where am I on my, let me make the slides. Okay, that is going to be, I like this one more than any of them. And Bob Saget, that's right, Penny Lane. Bob Saget. Yeah, not a good guy. Okay, let me make sure I have my notes opened. So I want to talk about Gilgamesh as much as I can share. Anybody want to tell me what they understand about Gilgamesh? Can you drop it? I'd like to see what you all know prior to kind of chatting about Gilgamesh. What do you think about Gilgamesh? Is it something that, like, is it a word that comes to mind? What's your understanding of Gilgamesh? Do you say good guy, bad guy? What is your understanding of Gilgamesh? Please share with us. I have so many notes. Okay, thank you. God's Alley says Nephilim king. Okay, so are Nephilim good? Because see, this is the stuff that I think we should have been talking about in Sunday school. I feel a little cheated by this because I have a lot of questions and I would have loved to have asked somebody that is very learned in the church who could have answered a lot of these questions. So now I'm starting, like, as an adult, I have to go back and like basically learn Sunday school lessons. I don't know about you all. Do you feel the same way? Just let me know, because that's how I'm feeling personally. I feel a little bit, yeah, like I have been duped. Okay, Frankie, Nephilim are unredeemable. Okay, so this is, I'm glad we are sharing. Nephilim hybrid angel human. All right. Tina says they left out the good stuff in church. Look at that. And we got to catch up. We have to do the remedial class. This is what I feel like I'm doing, the remedial class. Hybrid. Hello, Shawnee. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to hang out. This is the night class, and you don't need a passport. We do go on field trips. We're going to take a field trip tonight. Yes, so you didn't need a passport. Okay, even if you had to do one to show up to Thanksgiving dinner with the family this year, you don't have to have one for this gathering. Hey, Carrie, Book of Enoch. Yes, we're going to start a study on the Book of Enoch, by the way. I did receive mine. And so this is the one I have. It says Books of the Ethiopian Bible. And it doesn't have a specific author. It says the Ethiopian Church. So I found this on eBay. And it has the 100 books in here. So the Book of Enoch is here. So I am going to, here's the list of the books that are in here. This is all new to me, everybody, because I was told that this was a naughty thing to do. You don't look at this stuff if you want to be a good girl, a good Christian girl. You don't look at this stuff. It's forbidden. So anyway, based on all of that, I am new to this mud party and I am trying to catch up, okay? So I love that you all are helping me in this whole journey. So you all said that you say good for me, Sean. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. So I'm going to schedule our book gatherings for the Book of Enoch. I found mine on eBay. It was reasonable, like under $20. And other people have other places where they get their books. One thing I did like is, of course, the bookseller was an independent bookseller. I don't like how eBay does that stuff, but it was an independent bookseller. So anyway, we were told that Enoch is heresy. Yeah. So that's why some people may have uneasiness about it. I've noticed, everybody, since I started talking about Gilgamesh, the flood, the Book of Enoch, I've lost some Facebook friends and I've lost people on Instagram. So I figure that this must bring offense. Do you know? Because I don't know. Is it a controversial thing? What this is? Let me know. But I got a few spots on my Facebook list, so I then I could let they give you a limit, of course, so then I let other people on because people flew the coop. They were like, oh no, she's talking about Gilgamesh and the flood. Not today. Karen Scott, meep and greetings to you. All right, so you all answered my questions. You all said, is Girl Code here? Uh-oh, Girl Code's here. Hey, sis, where are you? I'm looking for you. I saw people mention your name. Naad knows. Orion Nephilim, genetic specialist who bred humans to slave for them. Question. I am still on that path of figuring it all out. If you're patient with me, I'm going to begin the book study. I will let you all know I'm going to do a scheduling of it, and we'll have regular time to meet, and we will discuss the Book of Enoch very soon. Okay, there she is. Hi, Sissy. Thanks for coming by. Girl Code's here. Everyone's giving you love. Yes. Okay, so Gilgamesh. Let's start, shall we? Okay, so of course, weirdness is happening. As you already know, the year 1853. No surprises, so-called, this 1800 period of time. Everything seemed to happen. It's a weird thing. I never thought about it, never knew about it. So in terms of the epic, which is, you could say, a poem, the very first poem known to mankind or humanity would be the Epic of Gilgamesh. And this is based on ancient Mesopotamian mythology, so-called mythology, okay? And so this comes around the Sumerian city-state of Uruk, okay? So this Gilgamesh was a king, an architect, and like I said, a builder. So in terms of finding the artifacts, do we want to say, the people who excavate and they find things suddenly? Isn't that amazing? They find things. So guess where they found it? They were British, they were German, typical players, right? And the year being 1853. We could have figured, right? That it just, there is no way that all of this happened in the 1800s. We already know something is amiss. Okay, so this This was discovered by an English archaeologist, okay? And he had a companion. I mentioned it on a previous, yeah, how convenient. Hey, Chris. Isn't it funny at this point? At this point now, even if you were a skeptic and you were like, uh-oh, this is the newest conspiracy tinfoil hat rabbit hole that they're doing now. Yeah, even if you were doing that, yeah, not for much longer. You can't be that way when you look at this stuff. Norleen and Haley, hello. And our fellow sojourners, I like that. I like that. Yes. So, yeah, it just, come on, people. Nobody could make this up. This is just too crazy. Okay, so guess who also factors in? Queen Vicky. There she is with her filter for her Instagool. And then, you know, I said, uh-oh, we lost the filter on Vicky. So Vicky, we are not amused. Remember, that was her favorite line. We are not amused. Well, I have to say, we are not amused either, are we? Just to hear that suddenly all of this stuff was found in the 1800s. All of this technology was booming. And suddenly England just grows as an empire. And they have a special museum over there that, for some reason, holds a lot of these artifacts. Yeah, here it is, the British Museum. Has anybody ever been to the British Museum? This is what it looks like. And I would say it looks like, boy, I would think I was in Philadelphia. I bet, sis, you there? Does this look like Boston to you? I bet something in Baltimore probably looks like this. I'm sure plenty of places in New York City look like this. You name it. We have these structures here in America. I know you have them over in Europe, right? Can anybody tell me what this looks like? Does it look like something in your hometown? Yeah. The columns, right? Yeah, they want to tell us that this is Greek, this is that. They'll tell us all these different, this is classical, neo, whatever. This is Ionian, this is that. No, this is Tartarian, okay? Let us get you straight. This is Tartarian masonry. That's right, masonry, the stonemasons, the real ones. Who created this? Greek goddess Texas girl. Hey, Jennifer, sending love from Fort Worth. Hello. Have you heard there were 2 Enochs, one bad and one good? Was learning this last night. Have we been duped? Well, Greek goddess Texas girl, I can't answer that question. Can anybody answer the question? She wants to know, have we been duped? Because there are 2 Enochs, one bad, one good. I don't know, but Greek goddess Texas girl, I am going to be looking into what you're saying. If there are 2 Enochs, we're going to follow the good Enoch, okay? All right, so that's all we're going to do. We're going to figure out if there are 2. We don't want to have any one that's the bad one, okay? So we'll be able to figure him out. He won't be able to fool us because we're on to them. All right, so yeah. Oh, what I wanted to say was, did I already say that? That I think Victoria's Secret has a lot to do with more than just what we can imagine. She is the queen that I told you she child trafficked an Ethiopian prince. We talked about that on a previous live stream. I'm sure we will be talking about Queen Vicky a lot more in the future, but this is under her so-called monarchy that we would see all of these things happen, lots of things. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I told you that I think this is Victoria's Secret, has to do with a lot of this. Okay, so also the Society of Biblical Archaeology. And this comes up a lot. This name, when you're doing different research, you'll see the Society of Biblical Archaeology. So that was also established in the 1800s. So you have 1870, and they have their own publication. They have a lot to do with when they find artifacts, biblical, mainly artifacts, you know, the cave in Qumran, which they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. They're the people that seem to be on the ground collecting up all the stuff before anybody could do anything. Okay. And it is rather sketchy. So, you can almost imagine we have a man named Austin Henry Layard. Okay. So Austin, he was wrapped up in this whole finding of the Epic of Gilgamesh. So Austin's role here, let me find his role. I had it here. Because we had a couple of British guys, a German guy, and a guy from that area, either Iraq or, Persia rather. He helped the British, of course, to get all these artifacts. You always need somebody who works from the inside. Have you noticed that? Somebody who's going to go against their own people, their own family. They are that person. There's always somebody doing that. It's no shortage of a traitor who is willing to commit treason against, I'll say, the family. So this is Austin. He's an English archaeologist. So in 1849, in the library of Nineveh, we know that name, right? Nineveh. We were paying attention in Sunday school. So Layard was seeking evidence to confirm the historicity of the events described in the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Old Testament, which at the time was believed to contain the oldest text in the world. Instead, his excavations and those of others after him revealed the existence of much older Mesopotamian texts and showed that many of the stories in the Old Testament may actually be derived from earlier myths taught throughout the ancient Near East. The first translation of the Epic of Gilgamesh was produced in the early 1870s by George Smith. So what do you all think? Yeah, always something like that. So William Loftus was another one involved in finding they say they found these things, they discover these things. And this gentleman here is part of, I think he was part of I had his name here. I've been reading a lot, everybody. I've been finding a lot of great resources on, trying to find this guy's name. I'll find it in a minute. I've been finding a lot of great resources from the museums. When you read through their what do you call it? Their, I guess, artifacts. Yeah, artifacts. So the Metropolitan Museum of Art has a great online resource, and there's something called Gallica. You probably heard of Gallica. So Gallica has a lot of great pictures. So if anybody would like to begin research Gallica, as well as the archives, the internet archives, and they also have the Wayback Machine and things like that, so you can get started. Of course, a lot of things are British because they have all this stuff in their museums, so you can't help but to look at British sources. It's hard not to, but again, with discernment. I know we hear that all the time, discernment, and also your connection to God, your asking for truth and wisdom. And I believe that God, he leads us on the path, right? So this is a new path for me and a lot of you. So you understand, it's exciting for some people. They're scared to take on new information because they're afraid it may upset what they know and the foundations of what makes them feel safe, and it is a little too much. So we understand that to be the case. Some people, they don't mind being disrupted. I'm someone who doesn't mind being disrupted, right? I welcome it sometimes. It depends. Right now, when it comes to information, I really very much invite disruption because I want to get to the place where I understand our history. I understand our timeline, what God has revealed to us for this time, for the seals that are open and the veils that are, uncovered on information, because I do believe that information is dispensational. So I, like I was saying, people like Paul Romano, who's been on this road a long time creating content, I feel like that's amazing that he is still at it, and he's still just as funny and encouraging, and he brings great content. And so someone like him could handle knowing things a little early, and how hard it is to know things early because of all the various attacks that people have to go through, unfortunately. So people like him who are still at it, you have to think about how amazing it is. So I'm just saying, like, some of this information for me personally, I feel I wasn't ready to start studying it, researching it. I wasn't ready until now. So I don't know if you all feel the same way. I'm still looking for this guy's name. For some reason, I cannot find it, but it will possibly pop up. If you all know, probably somebody could look it up just as fast as I could try to find it. But I think he may have something to do with the biblical society and the translation, but he was British, okay? Hey, Tam, Golden Goddess, thank you for coming by. Our DNA is opening up, so we'll get major downloads of information out of nowhere. Thank you, Tam. Yes. And, for us that grew up in church, we heard that information would increase in these days that we're in. So it, of course, is what we expected. At least we heard that much, right? So I'll figure him out, or you could look him up, William Loftus, but he has something to do with this translating. I think he was a cuneiformist, if you could say that, a cuneiformist. Yeah, I think that was his role on the team, is he somehow knew how to translate the Sumerian cuneiform. So how he knew how to do this is something that I'm not sure, because, I kicked their wiki along with, now I'm looking up other things to corroborate. We have the Bible, we have other texts we can always go back to, because what I like about history like this, we could put a pin in the timeline, and when it doesn't line up, we can then look at, now we have a discrepancy with time. So then we can begin more research. So that's what I like about this. Okay, so William Loftus, remember I said I would find him. He's in my notes here. William Loftus was a British geologist, and it says he discovered the ancient Sumerian city of Uruk. Okay, so he's supposedly credited with finding the city that Gilgamesh was a king of. So he founded that, of course, in the 1800s. So anyway, here we are with the language, and we've been taking in how the cuneiform looks. I know that many of us have gone to museums throughout our lifetime, and we may not have been paying attention. I, for one, will admit that I've been to museums all over the world, and I have been in awe of the information and the artifacts, but I've never been engaged where it started to make sense. I could take it in, if you know what I'm saying, but it just somehow I couldn't pin it down. It didn't make sense to me. So that's one of the things that I am more excited about, is that I'm reading this stuff and I'm able to sort it out in my mind. So we also have Hormuzd Rassam. So Hormuzd Rassam was an assistant to the Austen Henry Layard, who was supposedly the English traveler for Queen Victoria, and he was an excavator. So he discovered, so-called, the Epic of Gilgamesh. So this man, Hormuzd Rassam, was his assistant. So that's how the narrative goes as to how we have this story. So the thing about, when you think about libraries of this nature, we're talking about clay tablets. We're talking about stones. We're talking about mud. Remember, mud, clay. We're talking about cylinders, as we talked about King Cyrus's cylinder. We're talking about documents, stories, in inscriptions, engraving of letters. This is very key because I never put together how this is where we got our written language. This is the root of written language. If you were to look at the sources so far, I can't argue with it. It makes sense. This written language is early, before they were writing on paper, and it's powerful, written in stone. Okay, so I'm just saying, this would be a library, if you could imagine finding, these different tablets and fragments, and how they have ordered them. And here are stones, and the stones cry out, right? The stones will tell the story. We have lots of references to stones. And this is why a lot of us are very awestruck at this Mudflood research, is that we have something tangible. We have been inside of these structures. So it means a lot. It's way powerful. So that is something that, again, when you go to some of these museums, if you all have been to the British Museum, and you may have gone to some of these areas of the museum. I've not been to the British Museum. So this would be something of, a traveling possible exhibition of the Sumerian, Babylonian, all of that time, Mesopotamian. So I don't know if you've paid attention to those kind of things. But what I want to say now, without disrespecting our military, because I do respect our military, and I know that our brave military men and women, they go to wars and they go and sign up because they believe in what we've all been told. A lot of them do. They're young when they are, as you know, recruited. They're young. Sometimes we could say they're children, but now that we look at these wars that we've had in this part of the world, it makes you think about things differently. It makes me think about, what were they really doing over in these regions? They gave us a narrative, but when you can look up other information, now that we're finding out so much, that we're learning that they hit palaces, temples, museums, libraries. They're doing this stuff, and this is a war. Now, again, I am not blaming our military men and women that are the frontline soldiers. A lot of them were given this information too. It's very compartmentalized, but I'm sure a lot of them believed in what they were doing, right? So this is the thing about breaking down a person's mind, and you're able to then input programs, get them to believe it. That's what they say. They break down a soldier so they can build them back up, right? So we already have heard this. And so if they're being told to go in to this palace or this, like I said, library, museum, yeah, what are they going to say? I was following orders. So this is what now we have to think about. What have we been doing? Because by proxy, we have done this with our tax dollars and our consent when they have told us these garbage narratives to go into these countries and sack them and just destroy them and genocide their population and demonize and villainize them. And it's just disgusting. So, you have these ancient artifacts, these people, when I say, they say, Whitney Houston, we can credit her with that, show me some receipts. You know how she said that, show me the receipts. I think that was one of the most powerful memes, show me the receipts, because that says right there, prove it to me in a tangible way. These walls of these ancient structures, those are the most powerful receipts that we could see. Okay. And so what are they doing underground? What are they doing? What's your opinion on what's been going on in Iraq and Iran? Because I know my girl Tish, I know a lot of you all love Tish. Shout out to Tish. I don't know if she watches these videos or if anybody who knows Tish and loves Tish. I know Tish knows I love her. I love her content. If you're looking for an amazing, amazing sister who does her research, her channel is Investigation Celebrity, and she is so thorough. I love watching Tish. Who else watches Tish out there? You know what I'm talking about? Well, Tish was the first one I learned about this. Let's call it a tinfoil hat theory and have a little fun with it. So our villain, our American villain, Hills over here, we heard, some of us heard, if you watch this particular video, Tish broke down how Hills was over there looking for Gilgamesh. Is that a thing? Like, I know some of you had heard about that. Pretty bizarre, right? I'm going to get into that in a bit. Yes, Roxanne, Libya was demonized as well. And we're going to take a trip in the near future to Libya as well, because we have some things to learn over there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some research on Libya. So yeah, what is going on with Hills and Gilgamesh? Is it really a thing? So I don't know if this is new for you, but okay. We have Gilgamesh over here, and we have somebody who's hermetically sealed, and you can still see the flesh. And it just looks like it doesn't take anything but a flip of a lever, and somebody might be coming to dinner today. All it takes is a flick of the lever. Julianne says it's called a stasis chamber. So for you all who like science, maybe you know something about this. I'm keeping an open mind, because let me tell you something. The way we've been lied to all of my life, I am open to considering a lot of different points of view. Okay. I am not going to close my mind down. I am going to be open to at least hearing about this right now. So I have to say, not real sure. But hey, look at the detailed work in that beard again, that curly Q beard. Look at all of the, wow, I don't know if those are earrings, something, but the beard and the mustache, and wowzers, loving it. Let's see, you said real science doesn't lie. All right. Hey, Anthea, you said it's Tupac. It's Tupac. Hey, Perfect Love, you said check out the Green Book by Gaddafi. Oh, I would love to. I am looking forward to getting into Gaddafi and Libya. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yes, Abe says suspended animation. Do you all believe this is real, or do you believe this is a psyop? Tell me, tell me what you think. Have you looked into this? Okay, so let's talk about story fragments, okay? Because this is basically what it is that we're being told, is that this story, which is the very first poem in human history, we're told that the fragments of the story were found in the 1800s, of course, and various authors, as we have already seen in our other builds. It's like, you know, the authors, they get, you know, busy and they write books and they do screenplays. Before you know it, it's a whole movie happening. And then in the instance of this story, I don't know about you all. I'm not real up on my Marvel universes. I don't know a lot about the Marvel stuff, but I know that it's embedded in these type of stories. So that's how they can be so popular, is because these stories are embedded in our DNA, basically. That's my opinion from what I can see so far. So we have story fragments, and as you can see, the cuneiform and the clay, the mud, whatever you want to call it, the stone, and these are inscriptions. This is very amazing that it has lasted in spite of what they have tried to do, right? History just doesn't stop. It'll keep trying to yell at us, which I might be doing. How does the sound sound? And you know, here we are with the cylinders, and this is a cool shape of a cylinder. Hey, Miss Harris. Hey, Jen. You didn't. Oh, I know that that's a problem. I wish they would fix that. So here we are. And logograms. You know, this is basically a logogram is the written word. And how else were they going to get the written word to be copied and then thus for everyone to have this available to them? So this all starts with glyphs, hieroglyphs, okay? And the whole aspect of now looking at Egypt and looking at Persia and looking at Mesopotamia, it's like you start to see that these lands were unified, more unified than we thought. It wasn't all of this division. So you're going to see a lot of similarities. So this is powerful that I'm now like, oh my goodness. So these are like word pictures. You could break it down, logo and gram. Gram is like something that you communicate. And then a logo are pictures. And we get a lot of other words from this. So the Great Flood is a story that is told from so many different cultures. And we, like I said, have heard about the Great Flood since we were little children. And I personally think that the Great Flood is a story that I personally didn't understand. I think that it was just delivered in a cute way, but not anything to really focus on, just something you talk about at one point, right? So, how about you? Have you ever done I hate to say a deep dive since we're talking about a flood, but has anyone ever done deep study on the Great Flood or the deluge as it's called? Anyone? And here are supposedly, this is an illustration of the terracotta tablet that contains the account of the deluge or the flood. So we see fragments. And I have read a lot of the stories about how they'll claim that this fragment got lost or this fragment something. It makes you wonder, of course, that you don't trust the narrative. You've studied it, Tina. Okay, so you've studied. Now, Tina, tell us, when you studied it as an adult, right, as you were going down this path, would you say that you understood it as, you heard it earlier in life, or do you have the same experience that I have, that it was more so glossed over and it took this, right? Something like this to wake us up. Perfect Love says, so many of these written words on clay and stone have been stolen and hidden in the vaults and are underneath the Vatican. They need to be released for us to study. I so agree with you. And I have heard that. And I am looking forward to the more we start to learn is coming out. And I guess it's coming out as we can handle it. So of course, these are the images that we get when we think about the ark. It's always Noah and the ark. And a lot of the times when we were learning in church about the so-called end times, and because we don't know what the proper timeline is, because they've messed with dates and seasons, so it makes you off kilter in terms of your timeline. So they've done that, of course, by design. So when they say, as in the days of Noah, that, the modern times we're going to mirror the days of Noah, where people are just doing, whatever. They're out, they're partying, they're doing their thing. They're traveling, they're doing Instagool travel, and they're clueless as to what is going on, right? So we hear that, but these are the things that we see as a building project. And I know that we talk about the stonemasons, the builders, the woodworkers, the brick masons, the architects, right? This is very key. I'm seeing that this is what it's all about. The builders. This is like a war between builders. I can see a real group of builders that build real things. And then there's the hackers that don't build it, but they're chisel their name in it and take credit for it. So that's the two builders that I have been able to see throughout this study so far. But anyway, this was a big building project, right? The ark. It took how long? Does anybody know? And remember how long it took Noah and his family to build the ark? So yeah, you see the ark on stilts on, what is it called? What is this stuff called? Why am I forgetting it already? The stuff you put up to build. Scaffolding, right? It's called scaffolding. So here's the ark up on scaffolding. You said 120 years it took to build the ark. Has anybody ever discovered the ark? Has there ever been anything found? Because I was always wondering, like, have they found the ark? Mount Ararat, we would hear about that, which is modern day Turkey, right? So I don't know if anything's ever been found. So we see the ark and the aesthetic, the story displayed in a lot of artwork. So I just wanted to show you some of the artwork that shows the flood. And I want to see some of the words. If you have words that come to your mind, just share it, please, because I love seeing that. I think it really helps all of us. So whatever you're thinking, yes, Jesus was a carpenter and his stepfather, Joseph, was a carpenter. And like we learned when we were talking about the kings of Ethiopia, the emperors, whatever a father knew, that would be imparted to the son. And also we saw that also in the Persian culture. The son would know what the father knew. So that was interesting. So yeah. So this here is kind of like, woo, don't you get the feeling like, wow, you don't want to mess up this timeline and miss the boat, right? It's like, wow. I don't know. When I look at this now, it's a feeling. You just feel like, my goodness, you have missed the boat. But again, the weird side of me that is now in this sort of inception thing, I then think of, okay, what if this was a photographer that took the picture? So you're out here taking pictures of people missing the ark and you had time to draw this? I know, I'm only kidding. Only joking. Somebody would, of course, have to post that to Instagram, like, oh my God, we just missed the ark. Let's put it on Instagram. And then like this also feels bad too, right? It's like, whoa, not a good look. Missed the ark. What is going on, right? Don't you get a feeling when you look at this? Like, you're like, wow, right? I know some people run late a lot. You run late. You don't want to run late now. This is not good. Let me look at my notes real quick. Just drop some words in. What do you think when you see this? Like, oh, doggone it. PH Joyce said, my son's middle name is Noah, which means the first. I like the name Noah. Such a nice name. And, again, with the ark, this is something we tend to see a lot. The ark always looks like a wood cabin, like something you would see up in the Poconos or something. And then it's always shown as wooden, right? Wooden. And of course, you have the two animals, the male and the female of every species, right? Abe said, oh, doggone it, right? That's bad. I mean, you've missed planes, you've missed trains, you've missed buses, but you don't want to miss the ark. That's not going to be a good one there. And, they kind of cutesify the whole ark thing. You may have done the ark murals for your children because it's very popular for children's rooms. So we do this, and in my opinion, I think that's probably why I never took it very serious, is that I've always seen it in this cutesy style, What do you think? It's always like real cutesy. And some, examples of bedrooms. And then somebody looks like they have this as a business. I can't imagine. I don't know if it's like a coffee thing or little kiosk, but it looks like the ark. It's kind of cute. What do you think? all these notes, I'm going back to the sort of beginning here. James. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, James. God bless you. Thanks for coming by to hang out. Deborah says, example would be the Grand Canyon. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the Grand Canyon. Karen says, Noah was a conspiracy theorist. They all thought he was crazy, like most of us today. Yes, yes. Celestial Structures, thank you for coming by. And you all know that this show is sponsored by Celestial Structures. You could contact us below. Yes, thanks for coming by, good brother. Nice to see you. Very nice. All right, so yeah, look at this. Wow, that has a certain, it hits different, as they say, right? When you look at it and you're all muddy and down these, you got your muddy boots on. And when you look at a picture like this, I think it hits different. Does it hit different now to look at that artwork? Let's take it in. Let's take it in. What are you feeling? What do you think when you see this? You say tsunami. That's the word that comes to your mind. Yeah. Looks a little calmer, but still the same way we have grown to accept the deluge. But a lot of times we don't think about what it was like on the land masses. What could that have been like to, water coming up from the deep, from the earth, and rain coming down from above? Is it both ways? It was raining and the water was coming up? What do you think? Thank you, Chris. I curate them especially for you. You like them? I'm glad. I just want you to get a feeling. We're all in this class together, right? I'm learning with you. And so, like I said, a lot of other cultures, they have the story of the deluge, or the AnteDiluvian, which is before the flood. So you'll see many cultures, and you can see here, even looks like a little bit of Noah. Not Noah, but and the whale, Jonah, because Nineveh was also factored in. So we're going to talk about Jonah eventually as well. But, all of the stories you can think about, they have other cultural significance. So you have another reference to the deluge, and more artwork that you may see when you go to the British Museum. Not sure. May have seen this in museums in your hometown, but it gives you that emotional feeling of, some of it's very dramatic, like the one on the right. And here's more artwork. That has a more, very dark. But then you can see the angels. Looks like there's some angels mixed in there helping. But still, it doesn't look like good at all. And then this one's pretty powerful, where you can see the architecture and imagining a big deluge, the great deluge, and some of now the mud flood was different. Golden Crisp says the mud flood was different. As I'm understanding a little bit about the mud flood, is that they call it liquid. How do you say it? Liquid liquefaction. So it's something about the mud and it liquefies, it becomes like something else, right? I'll get into more of that stuff another time, but I just for now want to talk about the deluge and what it means, the implications for humanity, I'll say. I know that sounds a little bit very like you're doing something big there. Look at that, right? Imagine that. And you know about the pyramids in Giza, and you know about the Sphinx, and there's also been a lot of discrepancies about that. Thank you. Liquefaction. Yes, I have to practice more of that. Thank you, Heidi. So good to have you in here. Girl Code says timelines, my favorite subject. Yes. Hey, Tenye, hi, thanks for coming by. You said lots of Freemasonry images. And, you know, I want us to talk about the issue with Freemasonry and how this factors in. And can we get to a resolution in, was there something that happened in the masonry, the stone masons, the builders, the architects, the craftsmen, the artisans? Was there something that happened in their guilds, I don't know, what do you want, their guilds? I'll say guilds for now because I don't want to say lodge or whatever, but guild. And it was some way of perpetrating, hijacking history. So you may have two factions, like, you know, everything seems to be in this 3D realm. You have the opposites. Sequoia says liquefaction. Thank you. If anybody's looking for the word, here it is, liquefaction. So that is what the mud flood is all about. And we'll look at that in the future as well. Norlene says they probably were infiltrated too. Yeah, that's a possibility. I'm still, you know, looking into it and discerning it, asking God to help me understand what is going on here. It's just so much information. So, you know, we see this picture, this has a lot of hope, you know, and that's where you get the rainbow. And, you know, when they sent the dove out, the birds, you know, does everybody know their story? The difference with the Noah and the Gilgamesh, you know, story, Noah, they said, okay, 3 different birds. No, they both sent out 3 birds. One lasted longer in terms of the flood. But yeah. Masons equal mystery schools. Yes. Sean said the unions of old. Okay. So here's some more art. And I kind of tried to do a progression. So, you know, you had the flood, you saw all the drama and the people that missed the boat. And now it is, you know, time that the water has receded and the boat has landed on dry land, right? So this picture, this artwork, the artist is representing hope. And now we're going to get into the Gilgamesh part of it. When we think about the area of the world, Mesopotamia and the Babylonian Empire, Nineveh, all of those areas, the Iraq, you know, modern day Iraq, Iran, Persia, all of this, Egypt, Ethiopia. See, this is what you have to understand. This stuff was all united, especially in technology, in architecture, right? So let's talk about Gilgamesh. We already heard about the so-called British guy who wrote the book. He found the fragments. And so it's the Epic of Gilgamesh. And epic means that this is like a really big story that tends to be understood by people on a deeper level. So yeah, when you see epic, I know, that was one of those things like when, when you were a teenager, you used that word, oh my God, it's going to be epic. I know, like, we still use those words, right? Who am I kidding? I still say epic. Do you guys? Epic. So, epic is big. This is the stuff, like I said, that it features the heroic exploits of a dimly lit historical figure. Epics can be performed or recited as part of a ceremony or ritual. And the purpose could be entertainment. They used in the royal courts, private houses, campfires, desert caravans, long sea voyages. That's where you tell epics. They are poems. They are stories. They are narratives. So when you think of Gilgamesh, he seems to me like, let's just be real, right? Gilgamesh seems like a guy's guy, right? He's the guy you definitely want on your team somewhat. I don't know if I'm misunderstanding Gilgamesh. It might be the beard. It might be the beard, everybody. I have a thing for beards, right? So Gilgamesh is a warrior. Like I said, this guy does it all. He's got the kingdom. He's an architect. He's a builder. He's what else? I mean, he grips up animals. Is it 11:11? Yes, it's 11:11 for anybody who that means anything for. There you go. Golden Crisp said they all looked alike back in the day. Okay. We have been living an epic lie. That's a good way to use the word in a sentence. Johnny says he was a narcissist. Don't be fooled by the beard. Thank you, Johnny. Don't be fooled by the beard. Johnny says he was a narcissist. Okay, so we got the jury out on Gilgamesh. What was the deal here? So, you think about the beards and the whole look of this Uric man, this Mesopotamian. Okay. Wow. All right. So here we are. They so-called found something with Gilgamesh. I think it might be time to play that little bit of Gilgamesh, possibly in let me stop the screen. Hi, everybody. Glad you're here hanging out. We're hanging. Oh, if you're joining me on Facebook, I want to say welcome to you all. I hadn't done streams on Facebook for a while, but let's play the clip. And I'm trying to be careful not to play too much of the videos, even though I try to say this is for education, but I don't want to get struck. But I'm just going to play a little bit of Gilgamesh found buried in Iraq. And let's see, what are they talking about with this? Okay.
Here, predictably, is where the story goes silent. Due to conflict within the country, it was largely believed the excavations had been halted. However, it seems that the discovery of King Gilgamesh may not have been made in isolation. This footage was supposedly leaked to numerous places across the internet and has largely been put down as authentic footage of the find. Shortly after this was taken, reports state that American forces moved in and seized the find. Why do the powers that be see fit to suppress such discoveries? The very real tombs of characters long thought to have been mythical, Osiris being but one example among many, which have undoubtedly been hidden from the public. Maybe some clues to why his tomb has been hidden lay within the epic and the immense powers Gilgamesh was said to have possessed. He was the fifth king of Uruk, and his power was so mighty, many believe that the stories surrounding him are just myths that were built around his seemingly superhuman strength and endurance. However, Serious scholars concluded that the story of Gilgamesh was nothing more than a fairy tale due to the astonishing story. In the epic, the great king is thought to be too proud and arrogant by the gods, and so they decide to teach him a lesson, sending the wild man, Enkidu, to humble him. Enkidu and Gilgamesh, after a fierce battle in which neither are bested, become friends and embark on adventures together. When Enkidu is struck with death, Gilgamesh falls into a deep grief and, recognizing his own mortality through the death of his friend, questions the meaning of life and the value of human accomplishment in the face of ultimate extinction. Casting away all his old vanity and pride, Gilgamesh sets out on a quest to find the meaning of life and, finally, some way of defeating death. In doing so, he becomes the first epic hero in world literature. The grief of Gilgamesh and the questions his friend's death evoke resonate with every human being who has wrestled with the meaning of life in the face of death. Is this leaked footage of the tomb of Gilgamesh? Regardless of its authenticity, why all the secrecy? Are we, as a species, not capable of being presented with things which test our core beliefs without erupting into chaos? It seems for now, we may have to wait to find out.
So, has anyone ever seen that? Anybody ever seen that? Is that new to you? I saw that, like I said, first time was Investigative Celebrity with Tish. So I was pretty amazed. I don't know. I am still considering. You have seen it, Teresita? Yes, and you, Heidi? I know his legs were long, right, Karen? Did you notice all the gold artifacts that were in his, whatever tomb or sarcophagus or whatever you want to call that thing that he was in, the glass encasement? A lot of that looked Egyptian. So you have the same kind of things all cross-pollinating together. So let me go back to my slides. How's it going in the chatmosphere? All right. Sometimes when my screen freezes, I'll see myself and I look so goofy. Okay, so again, we're going back to the people that have all of these receipts that are in stone. And Gilgamesh, I'm looking at Gilgamesh, dude. This guy here, I don't know. I have the craziest imagination. I'm thinking about Gilgamesh being your dad. Can you imagine having a dad like this? And he's got the lion gripped up. Look how he's gripping up the lion. And whatever that thing is in his other hand, it looks like it'll slap the crap out of somebody and stun them, right? Imagine like he's got to come up to the school because you've been acting like a clown and your father Gilgamesh comes up. Uh-oh. He's got the lion. Then he's got the slapper. Can you imagine this guy? I just think, hey, no one's going to mess with him. No one's going to joke with him about wearing a dress, a tunic or whatever. You say cruel. Rita thinks he looks cruel. Is it the way he's gripping up that lion? I'm just saying, you don't want to mess around if this is your father, okay? You do not want to. He'll go kaplam, right? Powie. You'll get a pow-pow if he comes up to the school. That's your crazy daddy. Oh my God. Can you imagine your friends are like, oh my God, your dad is back up here. He's got a lion and he's got the slapper. You're in trouble. Being the class clown. Look at that. I'm telling you, you are not going to play. So I'm going to get to understanding these giants or whatever you guys call them, the Nephilim and all that stuff. I'm just saying, I want to understand this, okay? This is deep to me. I'm really mind blown. I'm just, wow. And you see Gilgamesh in a lot of, I didn't realize, a lot of statues in various countries. There's one in Tibet. So you see him with those other little creatures. They call them winged bulls. Winged bulls. But he definitely subdued the animals, okay? I'm just saying, wow. And then you see more depictions in some of the other museums, in Iraq. So they do still have some of their artifacts. And again, just giving you a feel for their reliefs, as they call them, the reliefs in stone. Very interesting. And a lot of times you'll notice that the men have they look like watches. Have you noticed that? There's something that they're wearing that looks like a watch. So if anybody has any idea of what these things are that they wear around their wrists, and for the ones that let me know that those are daisies that they use a lot in their craftsmanship, lots of daisies. And you have more, like there's Gilgamesh like gripping up the animals. I mean, he's no joke with the animals, I'm telling you. And this is, like I told you, this is where we get the first coining, the first minting. You say he looks like a gladiator. Yes, for sure, right? Yes. And this whole issue of coins is also very important. We can definitely stick a pin in that, because I believe this is going to be more of a later on down the road discussion about the coins, the currency that started in this civilization. Okay, so if they were already printing and doing reliefs and writing basically in stone, it only figures that they would have created a form of currency, not like what we have now, the fiat and the crypto and the, you may be mad at me for saying crypto, but I'm not trying to knock it because I like the concept of it. But I think also the fact that we're waking up to the fiat money, and a lot of times people want something tangible because we've been lied to so much and it's hard to trust anything. And so I don't know. I'm just saying that that could be what people really need, is to feel the tangible currency, which is an energy. So it is a form of energy, and it is consented by the people because these are real metals. And so it is basically a contract. So, they're known for the coins. And, imagine having found one of these coins, and because the thing is that the Tartarian Empire and all of these AnteDiluvian empires, you could find coins maybe in other places. I don't know. Does that seem kind of odd? But I did see somebody put in there about the Grand Canyon, and I've been to the Grand Canyon one time and I was totally amazed. And they have Egyptian artifacts that they have found in the Grand Canyon. So I'm just saying, we've been lied to. So this is, part of that construction, Gilgamesh's tomb, I guess. And you can just look at the walls, and it was something really deep about walls when it came to Gilgamesh. And Enkidu, which I don't know why hearing Enkidu, it sounds so familiar. Like there was a children's book where, I don't know, my mother must have read something and I remember Enkidu. Just the name Enkidu sounds familiar. So Enkidu was his friend. that initially Enkidu wanted to come and challenge him to a contest of strength, and Gilgamesh won. And then it says he and Enkidu became very close friends, and they went on an adventure. It's like the hero's journey. So they began an adventure together, and they became good friends. So Enkidu, it says, going to get to my notes about Enkidu. Norleen, you said Enkidu sounds familiar to you as well? Yeah, right? So Enkidu was supposed to be a wild man, and Enkidu had those horns, and he was from Iraq. So he was a created wild man, so that could like be what you all were saying, like a description of is that the Nephilim? I'm still getting that whole Nephilim thing together in Anunnaki, so I don't know if I'm using it right. But Enkidu, it says, it was something about that I thought was really interesting. Okay, so they went on a 6-day journey through the cedar forest, and Enkidu became civilized after having sex with a prostitute. Okay, so yeah, that part. So you can see Enkidu with the, what do you think of when you see Enkidu with the horns? Anything come to mind? Inky was part animal. Tina's saying Inky was part animal. It's Inky. Teresita said it's Inky. It's Inky to you. Heidi says there's Inky and Enlil. Oh, I did see Enlil. I've heard of people talking about Enlil is the Anunnaki. Okay, we're going to get the Anunnaki and the Nephilim all straight. Okay. So moving on. Lots of books. I don't know if you've ever read any of the Gilgamesh. I'm going to show you all a little bit of it. So I ordered a copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh. I found it on another site for like $4. So I just got it just for, posterity. I don't know, just to have, I'm trying to collect books that are interesting now. So just, want to learn. So for children, they have books that are beautifully illustrated, or I think they have some of the computer games that are based on the Gilgamesh epic. And there's even cool restaurant lounges named Gilgamesh. Meet me at Gilgamesh, everybody. We'll have some tapas. He's a chimera. Gilgamesh is a chimera. Okay. Guy has a unibrow. Yes, I'm a barber too, and I would love to help with the unibrow and get the beard together. Beards are my favorite, okay? As a barber, you have no idea. I love grooming beards and doing the whole luxury like massage and the hot towel and the the oils and all of that. I like it to be like a spa experience. I haven't been doing barbering. I'll tell you why. We'll do story time. Just hang on. But anyway, meet me at Gilgamesh and we'll talk about it there. And yes, you could even get a pup, the Eternals. Who knows about the Eternals, the Marvel Eternals? Because again, I have no idea about this. So if you want a bobblehead Gilgamesh, look at that. Who knew? Who knew? I just thought I'd share it with you. Just thought I'd share. And this was weird. Somebody, a German, let me get to that part. I want to just bizarre. Like, I don't get why people do these bizarre things. They said that the Gilgamesh story became more popular after World War II, that the increase in the book, I guess, being bought and the interest in Gilgamesh, it said that, okay, listen to this. They said the existential angst during the aftermath of World War II significantly contributed to Gilgamesh's rise in popularity in the middle of the 20th century. For instance, German novelist Hermann Casak used Enkidu's vision of the underworld from the Epic of Gilgamesh as a metaphor for the bombed out city of Hamburg in his 1947 novel Die Stadt hinter dem Strom. You always have to say stuff that way, right? Always sounds angry. But wasn't that like bizarre? Like to take the bombed out buildings of Hamburg and then contribute that to a rise in interest in guilt. I don't know, everybody. I'm reporting, I'm kicking the wiki and telling you what they're saying. Cray cray. So here we are, the cedar forest. And you know, any good epic, any good story, now we see how they set it up, right? So the cedar forest is where I guess you could say the universe for this story is, right? Am I saying it right? So that would be the universe going to the cedar forest. And they encounter Humbaba the terrible. It's always Humbaba, somebody the terrible, right? So we should start calling some of our villains something the terrible. We should put Brandon the terrible. Let's start calling him Brandon the terrible. Hey, girl, I'm being silly. Brandon the terrible. Oh my gosh, y'all, this is how Humbaba looks. So when Gilgamesh and Enkidu went to the cedar forest, they met up with this dude here, Humbaba the terrible. He may look like your ex-in-laws. I don't know. I'm not saying, but I'm not judging either, okay? Humbaba. We all know a Humbaba. So, okay, this is what happened to Humbaba. Humbaba the terrible. They went to go kill Humbaba the terrible, and Enkidu and Gilgamesh, I don't know which one landed the deadly blow to Humbaba, but somebody they murked Humbaba, and so-called the pantheon of gods got angry at Enkidu, and they sent the bull of heaven down. Yeah, that's what's, I'm reporting it, everybody. Don't try to get angry at me. I didn't make the story up, okay? If you think that it sounds like something, we have heard wilder things, all right? So come on now. Okay, so this is the thing. So the goddess, we're going to talk about, there's a goddess, Inanna or Ishtar. She was considered the queen of heaven. We've heard that term, the queen of heaven. And she was attributed with love, beauty, sex, war, justice, and political power. And also sacred sex prostitute temples. So temple prostitution figures into this, okay? And we're going to circle back, put a pin in temple prostitution, because we will be circling back to that, okay? Maybe not today, but we're going to tie in these loose connections. So yes. So Ishtar, sacred sex, sex magic. This is not for kids, by the way. Please, this is not for kids. Okay, so basically, Ishtar was angry at Gilgamesh for curbing her. So Gilgamesh curbed her, and she took it out by sending the bull of heaven to kill his best friend. So he became very sad when Enkidu was killed. Okay, so Enkidu was sentenced to death. Yes. All right, so let's see what else is going on. So you can see how I think that's Gilgamesh. He's just like killing the bull of heaven. I think he killed the bull of heaven. After that happened, Gilgamesh grieves the death of his friend Enkidu and then sets out on another epic journey. It was perilous and long, to discover the secret of eternal life. And a lot of times in story form, we call that the hero's journey. Okay. And so this is the sword that Gilgamesh used to kill Hababa the Terrible. And then we have, okay, I'm going to practice saying this name. Utnapishtim, the immortal, and his wife. Is that not cute? Utnapishtim and his wife. They call him the immortal. And the theory is that we could be talking about Noah. This could be another name for Noah. But you notice it says, and his wife. Okay, so I thought that was different. And so you can see him represented in some of our entertainment. This is how they kind of portray him, as the wise old man. You've probably seen movies. Anybody, you could, throw it down there if you've watched any movies where it's always like the older wise man who has the beard, right? So this could be where they're getting it from, is the character of what they're saying could be the immortal Noah, possibly. He's gripping up an animal too. And he has that watch on his wrist. And so here he is doing something with a plant. Not sure what this plant is, but they all have the same kind of like tunic where one leg is like revealed, right? It's very similar. And then of course the beard is always curly Q. And then we have Enlil. Okay, so Enlil, from what I understand. Oh, also before we do Enlil, Gilgamesh, when he set out on his epic journey to find the secret of eternal life after Enkidu was killed, let's see. He goes to a matriarchal figure named Siduri, and Siduri is an alewife. An alewife. Can somebody write alewife in the chatmosphere? Like beer, ale, and then wife. ALEWIFE. Can somebody write that for me? So an alewife was Siduri. So Siduri was seen as a wise female divinity associated with fermentation. So we're talking about beer, okay? So an ale wife. Never heard of it, but when I thought of, thank you, Molly Moose. So an ale wife is Sidura, and Gilgamesh went to get advice from her, and she told him not to go on this second epic journey because she said that he should not seek immortality. And when we think of immortality, think of fame, okay? So she didn't feel that he should seek fame and immortality, and she urged him to be content with his simple life, with simple pleasures. So when you think about a matriarch and an ale wife, and she is over fermentation. I think about fermented drinks and fermented, like you think of beer, but you think of other things that are fermented. They call it the mother. So I used to make kombucha, and you would have to get a mother to brew and ferment your kombucha. And you know that they use the mother for also apple cider vinegar. They use the mother. So there are so many things, like when you start seeing this, you're like, wow. So yeah, the beer winch. Is that where the beer winch came? That's toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity, right? Some bucha. Do you make your own bucha? I am missing it. I have to start making my bucha again. I miss it. So there you are. Okay. The mother, avenging scapegoat, is asked. Mother is okay, the best way I could describe it is when you're fermenting, we'll say fermenting an ale like beer or kombucha, you use it's like this mother. It has the good bacteria and all stuff that you're going to use, the yeast or whatever, to ferment the drink. Okay, so that's why we call it the mother. Okay, so that's what we mean. Bread, friendship bread. Yes, exactly. So you have your sourdough is made the same way. Nixon, you make kombucha? Ooh, love it. It was a time when I used to make my own kombucha, kefir, and yogurt. I made my own stuff. Yes, like bread, you have to have a yeast starter, and that's called the mother, or the SCOBY if you make kombucha. Okay, so the alewife, talked about her. So these are some of the people that come along the way. So you have Noah and his wife, and then Enlil, did I write it right? Enlil was a Mesopotamian god, little g god, of wind, air, and storms, and they have attributed in their folklore to have caused the flood. Okay, and let's see what else. So this is Anana, or Ishtar, and you can see her relief and what she looks like. Yes, SCOBY is what's needed for kombucha. So the SCOBY is called the mother. Yes, the mother. All right, so Ishtar. And this is Ishtar's logo. Do we want to say logogram? Ishtar's symbol. What do you want to call it? We called it also a sigil. What, have you ever seen this? I don't know if I've ever seen it, other than I've seen it on, let's see, some of those pins. And in fact, I want to show you, I came across a doggone Freemason lodge that talks about the flood. That's part of their name. But this is the coat of arms for, I believe it is for, oh gosh, I'm forgetting whose coat of arms. Does anybody know? Can anybody help me? Whose coat of arms? I forgot already. I'll come back. And this is more of Ishtar in a relief, and you can see the Ishtar star, and then you can see the crescent moon. And I don't know what that other object is, but you see more of Ishtar. And again, she is accredited with temple prostitution. So here's a flood tablet. This is perhaps the most famous of all cuneiform tablets. It is 11th tablet of the Gilgamesh epic and describes how the gods sent the flood to destroy the world. Like Noah, Utnapishtim was forewarned and built an ark to house and preserve living things. After the flood, he sent out birds to look for dry land. Is that amazing that this is a flood tablet? Part of it. Norlene said Ishtar is evil. Sean said Ishtar equals Easter. And somebody said Ishtar. Wait a minute. Somebody else. Tina says Ishtar is the Statue of Liberty. And here again, oh, I had that already. The Genesis account of the deluge. So we have the Ishtar. Has anybody ever heard of the Ishtar Gate? Or have you ever been to the Ishtar Gate? So the Ishtar Gate was the 8th gate to the inner city of Babylon. And it was constructed. So King Nebuchadnezzar, another architect builder. So it was on the north side of the city. It was part of a grand walled procession way leading into the city. Okay. So after the end of the First World War in 1918, the smaller gate was reconstructed in the Pergamum Museum. So they have this gate constructed inside a museum, the Ishtar Gate. The walls were finished in glazed bricks, mostly in blue, with animals and deities in low relief at intervals. These also made up bricks that are molded and colored differently. All right. So it says other panels from the gate are located in many other museums around the world, including Europe and the United States. So the Ishtar Gate. And here are more pictures so you can take in of the Ishtar Gate. What do you think of that? You think of Saddam? Yeah, I'm gonna look into Saddam a little bit and what happened. Yes, Saddam Hussein had rebuilt it. Yes, he was doing a lot. Julie says Ishtar was the goddess of fertility. Eastern Star. Now, I didn't think of that. Oh, I bet that is it. Exactly. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah, we'll talk about Nebuchadnezzar at another time. So here we are. We see the tile work and the lions and the daisies. Look at the colors. What do you think? Would you want that on the backsplash of your oven and stove? What do you think? Anybody? Any takers? You're going to have the Ishtar Gate on the backsplash of the stove? No? Tina says, yes, Ishtar goes back to the Masons. Thank you. So just wanted to show you that. And then more tile work. Look at that. I told you all I'm big into tile. I love it, love it, love it. It's beautiful, Johnny. It is. Yes, I agree. And this is like a little replica of what the Ishtar Gate looked like. And, you know, it's like we hear about animals. A lot of us are animal lovers, and it seems that animals were very important, right? Are you picking that up? Avenging Scapegoat would like the thing maybe in the bathroom. Okay, so you could do the bathroom. Yeah, all right. And Heidi says, nah, I'll pass. Not quite your thing. Okay. Let me give you a little story today. I had to, oh, my eye is itching. I had to order some food for Josephine. So this time I've never done that. I've never had her food delivered. So I put a little order in for her food to be delivered. And I don't know, the driver must not have done the right time that I scheduled it. And it seemed like she knew. She was kind of coming up and reminding me, like, you need to find out where my food is. But I called the Petco, and I talked to, a nice person, and we had a really nice exchange. And she was just explaining, the process of what she has come to expect. They tend to sometimes be a little later picking it up. And I just told her I enjoyed just having that conversation with a live person, and we just had a nice conversation. Sometimes you miss that because we do so much automated stuff, but it was just sweet. So yeah, I ordered some food for Josephine to be delivered. And so here's another rendering picture of the Ishtar gate and the blue, and you see all the animals and quite regal looking. And I don't know what this is, but I don't know. Would you want that as a pet? Walk that through Petco? What's going on, right? Is that a little dragon? A little pocket dragon? What's going on? What you think? Bringing it home, adopting this, or nah? What do you think? What do you think? Oh my gosh, really, sis? She says, our sister says, we have Alewife Transit Station. Oh, I had never heard that word, sis. Alewife. Wow. Man, the feet are weird. Yeah, they look like they'll hurt. Like they'll leave some scratches on you, right? Those back claws. And this is just some more stuff. You talk about receipts. That's what they have excavated, a lot of stuff. That vase is used in the temple. It has your girl Ishtar on it. I don't know. It looks like she has her underwear on. And oh my goodness. Who knew Ishtar? We'll look into her another time, but I just wanted to show you some of the pottery. And, I've seen this particular pyramid called Saqqara. And Saqqara is very similar to the same way that they do the kind of stepped pyramids over in the East, the Far East, the Mid East. Pyramids are everywhere. I know a lot of you already know that, but it's all connected, all of this stuff. So where we kind of think these compartmentalized civilizations, oh, the Egyptians are here and the Egyptians look this way, the Sumerians look this way, the Persian. No. We have to open our mind to the fact that people, these kingdoms, these empires were vast, and these people were way more unified. So here, just more of the same type of pyramids that you'll see in other places. And, I want to talk about fame, because this is one of those things that comes up in this epic. They talk about fame, and I think about, how they have certain names that we hear about in these epics. And I'm thinking that if we were to give stories and epics about our celebrities, or as they call them, stars, they would seem superhuman, right? If we, wrote stories about Beyonce and Michael Jackson, and we wrote these epics so that the generations to come would read about Michael Jackson and Beyonce, would they think that they were some kind of like gods or something? I don't know, because everything just like hasn't evolved, right? Because if they were building these amazing things and they were the ones that came up with makeup and cosmetics and wigs, and they were doing this stuff way before, and we can't figure out, does anybody know the watch thing that Gilgamesh has on? I mean, come on, it's a lot going on here of advanced civilization. So is that sort of, I was kind of thinking about that, when you think about fame and immortality, it's the same as celebrity to me. I don't know. And the false idols, and like you're saying, the golden calves, right? The golden globes, everything is based on statues and idols. And it's no different from what we do today, making people superhuman, but these are people with clay feet, and we get to see them fall because we're at the point of that, that spiraling down of these famous, the ones that are put higher than others. It's a cycle. They got to come down. So I thought about that when thinking about Nefertiti. And again, all of these structures, when you think about what is below, we're just seeing the tip of the architecture, but it's so much that goes on below these structures. And even in San Francisco, there's a statue of Gilgamesh. Has anybody ever seen this statue? Let me know. Again, I don't know if I've ever seen a statue of Gilgamesh. I wouldn't have even paid it any attention. San Francisco, who knew? We have a sis that is here a lot from the Bay Area. Maybe she can chime in. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't do a Instaghoul segment here. So you have, people, of course, they go to these amazing places, and I've done it too. I'm making fun of myself. You go and see all this amazing architecture, and all you want to do is do an Instaghoul picture to post, right? So, this is a temple that is over in Indonesia. In fact, I went to Bali, and I really wanted to go here to Java to see this temple. But I was traveling with family, and they weren't interested in all that kind of stuff. It's always me that wants to do crazy things. So it was just left as one of those things I wish I could have seen. But anyway, look at this architecture and just have a little laugh off of the Instaghoul sort of aspect to it. Like, please take a picture. You're posing and you're getting the light just right. And look at that. Look at that. Got to post it, right? Got to let everybody know. Look at these bells, everybody. I don't know what they are, but it's like, oh my God, I was told that this is such Instagrammable stuff, right? That's like one of those Inception things, a person taking a picture of a photographer. That's always fun, right? And this one, that reminded me of the one I showed you all when I was in China. Remember I told you my little pushy friend who was trying to tell me, you got to put your hand right here so I could take a picture of you to look like you're touching the top of the building. Look at this. Have you ever taken a goofy picture like this? Come on, admit it. Who's ever done this? I guess we're going to become travelers now, right? Where we will not do these kind of things when we go traveling anymore. I will give up doing all of my goofy stuff, okay? I am going to treat these architectural, amazing structures with a little more respect, okay? So I will not be posting these kind of Instaghouls in the future. What about you? What do you think? So this was funny. On the same island in Indonesia, they have this mysterious chicken church. Have you ever heard of the chicken church? It's located in the middle of the Indonesian jungle. The abandoned building itself is quite bizarre, but even more bizarre is the fact that there are 12 underground chambers. What in the world? I did not know about this. It's so crazy, but I had to bring it to you because it's so bizarre. Look at the chicken church. Could that be where they got the restaurant Churches after? Is that where they got Churches? Churches chicken? What the heck? Did you guys know there was a church? A chicken church? Oh my God. Things that you just had no idea about. Look at that. Temples everywhere, even a temple to the chicken. So this temple that I've been showing you is Borobudur Temple. I want to hear what you think about when you look at this temple, this Antiquitect. Have you ever heard of this place? Let me know. Have you been here? The Blue Chicken Alien Cult. So we have put it together, Jackknife. It's the Blue Chicken Alien Cult. There you are. KFC's dirty secret. Everybody's got secrets. That might be KFC's dirty secret. They're trafficking chicken. You like my corny jokes, huh? I feel comfortable with you, Sean. You like my goofy humor? Got to have a little fun with this, okay? So yes, you eloped in Bali? Oh, look at that about our sister Tracy. We're learning a little bit more about you. So Tracy Wu eloped Bali in December 1999, traveled there many times, truly beautiful. I'm telling you, Bali was by far, I have to say, my favorite place I visited, next to, of course, Ethiopia. But Bali is amazing. The people are so beautiful, so kind. Really loved it. So this is near Bali. Have you ever been here to the Java part of it? But don't you think of like a motherboard when you look at the one to the far right? That looks like part of like a computer, the inside, the hardware of a computer, right? What do you think? So cool. And okay, how do they make these bell things? And I'm just saying, like, what's going on? So this is a picture from, of course, the 1800s. We always have to go back to the 1800s, right? Back to the future. And look at it from this distance. Oh my goodness. And Indonesia is so lush. I mean, you could walk and you see pineapples growing everywhere. You could just pick it. It's like nobody's going to say, get out of my pineapples. You just pick the pineapple and eat it. Everybody's just like chilled, right? So look at that. Oh my, right? Is that stunning? I'd love to hear what Karen, where's our beautiful Harlem Sentinel, Karen? What do you think when you see this? Because Karen always talks about the ley lines, you know, of the planet, and how some places are put on ley lines for those that know about ley lines. But I'm sure this is so amazing. I told you we were going somewhere, no passports. And here's another aerial view. Anybody have any ideas of, like, Allison says time machines. I know, right? What else can you say? It's just so amazing. And here's another angle. There's so much going on in there. All the stones. Who built it? Who built it, everybody? Why are they temples? All of these temples. Who are the temple keepers? Look at that. That's right. No masks on our trips. No masks. We want to see your beautiful smile, Julie, right? Hey, Abe says, very amazing. Hey, Jen, where was that chicken church located? It was on Java. It's on the same area, Java, as this temple. So it was somewhere in the Indonesian jungle. So look at these little, like, I don't know, little Buddhas. I'm not sure. Just lots of little, they're everywhere, like so intricate. And relief work. Where do we see reliefs? Again, we're talking about people who, did they chisel this stuff out? Do you think they used tools that we would know about to make this art in the stone? I'm just saying, but we just talked about Gilgamesh and Mesopotamia, and now we're in Indonesia and we see reliefs, we see stone, we see temples, we see all of this stuff that we see everywhere all around the world. So traveling is going to be very different from here on out when we get rid of all these crazy things that they're doing to keep us from traveling, because I sure don't want to travel at this moment. But I'm looking forward to time when it comes where we will be free from tyranny and traveling will be back on. It's going to be so different, whole different thing. So you see the wheel, you see the carts, the woman on the top, she looks like maybe she's royalty, something. She's being pushed. And we see the umbrellas. Can you make that out? So this is Indonesian reliefs. Hey, Jamel. Hi, how are you? You're not late, Jamel. I didn't get notified by Kami too. I know a lot of people say that, Jamel. It's so crazy. That happens to me too for people that I'm subscribed to. So I want you to take a look at the hairstyle of the Buddha, or we'll just say the person, the, Indonesian, what do we call it? The Tartarian, look at the hair. What do you think of? Have you seen that hair before? Have you seen that style? What's going on? What are we looking at? Energy. Those coiled things, hair. Isn't that something? Very interesting. I just want to bring it up. Just more. And when you're in Indonesia and you see a lot of these structures, then you'll see sometimes you'll see other structures in the villages, not those villas, because they have amazing villas all over for, tourists. But you'll see the simple housing and you just think we're supposed to be advanced. And this is the stuff that we build in the modern times, as opposed to this is supposed to be primitive. I mean, okay. And more. Another angle. Now, the Borobudur is Javanese. It is a 7th century Mahayana Buddhist temple, and it's in central Java. It's the world's largest Buddhist temple. Okay. I don't know what these are. Does anybody know? They look like bells. It's just so beautiful. Imagine, like, what is the frequency, the energy, and the healing, and just if you're in structures like this, what was that all about? Can you imagine? More. I don't know what this is, people, but I'm going to try to figure it out. What's your guess? Has something to do with free energy. And this is an internal chamber of the temple. And Buddha looks like he's just chilling with his crew, right? Sitting on the throne. They tend to like thrones, right? The famous, right? The gods, little g, right? They like thrones. They like chairs. So, wow. Do they have these maybe inside every one of these bells? Is there a Buddha in the bell? I don't know. A Buddha in the bell that has like a ring to it. Oh no, all the puns. The puns are corny. I'm sorry, I can't help that. Sometimes they just come out. Okay, so there's a Buddha in every bell. You get a Buddha. You get a Buddha. You get a Buddha. Sorry, Buddhists. I'm not being disrespectful. You guys, everybody jokes about our guy, Jesus, and we have to take it, right? So yeah, I'm just saying, maybe there's a Buddha in every bell. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Sean says scalar antenna. A sauna for the Buddha, huh? A sauna. You say those bells look like giant incense. Oh, yeah. That is the temple in Cambodia. No, this one is in Java. But again, the one in Cambodia, I'm sure looks like the one in Java because it's all done by the same people. This is the whole point, right? They're going to look alike. Probably got more of them in other places too. But here's a beautiful picture. Like, I like this moody, I don't know, like, isn't that gorgeous? Kind of reminds you of like Cappadocia when they show the balloons that are, floating in Cappadocia. But I just think it's gorge, totally gorge. And this is another view. You get to see the hair, kind of like a little bun on the top. But it's just amazing because it looks just like the Gilgamesh beards and all that similar stuff. Another great shot. I don't know what these little doggy figures are, but they have the little curly cues as well. I know they do, like in other Asian areas, they call them Ming dogs, right? Are they Ming? And I have to say, it always has to be somebody that jumps the shark, of course, in terms of the Instaghoul part of it all. It's like they jump the shark when somebody's going to do a marathon. So they made a Borobudur marathon. And of course, somebody had to position their ribbon on the bell so they could take a picture that they did the marathon. I don't know, everybody. This stuff that we do, I'm going to be so happy when we all graduate from that stuff. But I just thought that would just be like kind of funny as to like, you're at this temple, but they did a marathon and it looks like it's sponsored by a bank. It only figures it's sponsored by a bank. There you are. So there goes the jumping of the shark. It shows how out of touch a lot of us are, and we have been, about this antique technology, very advanced. And let me stop the screen for a minute here, because I'm going to show you How long have we been going? Oh, it's long. We've been going a long time. I want to show you part of the Gilgamesh epic. I just want to share how it reads. So if you've never, heard it, we could just kind of just a tad. So this, you could borrow this stuff for like an hour or longer. You could purchase it. That's where I found this one for like $4. Okay, so this is how it kind of reads. So this is the Internet Archive. So this would be the epic, and they tell it from different versions, like the Babylonian account and stuff like that. So this is Gilgamesh, the epic. So I'll just read like, okay, when he was sated with her charms, he set his face towards the open country of his cattle. The gazelle saw Enkidu and scattered. The cattle of open country kept away from his body, for Enkidu had stripped. His body was too clean. His legs, which used to keep pace with his cattle, were at a standstill. Enkidu had been diminished or could not run as before. Yet he had acquired judgment, had become wiser. He turned back. He sat at the harlot's feet. The harlot was looking at his expression, and he listened attentively to what the harlot said. The harlot spoke to him, to Enkidu. So there's that. And then there was something here just to kind of give you an idea of how this poetry sounds. Okay. On this page, one who was born in open country has superior strength. Shamhat answered, come on, let us go forth and let me, whoa, please you. What the heck? Oh, this is the part I looked at. I didn't read that. I don't know, everybody. This Gilgamesh epic, I didn't know. I haven't read it yet. Okay, so it says, look at him. Observe his face. He is beautiful in manhood, dignified. His whole body is charged with seductive charm. Oh my. He is more powerful in strength of arms than you. He does not sleep by day or night. O Enkidu, change your plan for punishing him. Shamash loves Gilgamesh. And then it says, Gilgamesh arose and described a dream. He told it to his mother. Mother, I saw a dream in the night. There were stars in the sky for me, and something like a sky bolt from Anu kept falling upon me. I tried to lift it up, but it was too heavy for me. I tried to turn it over, but I couldn't budge it. The countrymen of Uruk were standing over it. The countrymen had gathered over it. The men crowded over it. The young men massed over it. They kissed its feet like very young children. Jay Blair. Norleen said, this sounds like a cheap romance novel. So I gave you a little taste of what it sounds like, the epic. So there you are. Let me go back to the last part of my slides. I think I have a couple more here for you. So we did the Jumping of the Shark Temple Edition. And I thought this was weird. I came across this. Can you see this? I know I couldn't blow it up. But we think about technology has been suppressed and all we have are automobiles. They haven't advanced this technology. But look at, a lot of us that grew up in my generation, we thought by now we would have had Jetsons, flying cars. And I know a lot of people have drawn diagrams of flying cars. But this one came across today called the Discopter. And isn't that kind of cool? Like an individual flying machine. So I thought it was something. And this I want to talk about to kind of end on. It's called, and this comes out of the epic, okay? The Temple of Fame. You know, we talk about fame. I've been talking about fame, and this is what this immortality and being a celebrity and all of this stuff that this world realm will entice us with. But this is called the Temple of Fame. And it comes up. The Temple of Fame. Inscriptions here of various names I viewed. The greater part by hostile time subdued. Yet wide was spread their fame in ages past, and poets once had promised they should last. So basically, what I have come up with is that this is an archetype. When we talk about architecture and the arch, it's like that is the matriarch, like the family. So when we talk about building, everybody is a builder. And I have come up with the fact that the ultimate building project is the family. So this whole deluge, the flood, the Diluvian issue is that we seem to have amnesia, as a lot of people have described. We've forgotten our archetype, our arc of a story, the human epic. So it seems that we have been, in a sense, you could say, orphaned by the matriarch and the patriarch for whatever reason. And this hero's journey is coming back home to the human family, right? And we see this in this whole awakening. So this flood is a reset because something has been tampered with. The human genome, the DNA, has been tampered with. And we know that the evil, the enemy of humanity, wants to mess with the humans to the point that they're nothing but robots, right? Back to Metropolis and the stuff that we've been tying together. So this is like a whole restoration to, I don't know, I just see this journey as the original blueprint or pattern for the beginning of humanity. And this is like the master has inscribed this story into our DNA. And, you know, it's an arc is a master. It's the daddy. It's the Abba, the father. So again, the type, archetype, it's typed in our DNA. So the patriarch of peace is seen as Noah. And of course, ultimately, it's to be, to go back to the father. So I don't know. I just see this as like, you know, this poem and this journey is a journey back to our human family and the balance of, you know, being repatriated and also with mother as well. So I'm just saying that's how I see this epic journey. And it was something else I wanted to say about it. It's like, what is it to be human? What does it mean to be human? Those are questions, you know, because if DNA is altered, then it becomes a question. So the enemy is at war to destroy the family, which is the building block of civilization and society, is the family. And the enemy wants to destroy the family. the building project. So, and that makes humanity an orphan. So it orphans humanity. So that's what I'm coming up with, everyone. Let me know what you think. It's like the past becomes the prologue, also, I wrote. And when you think about fame and why people want it so much, it's like the ego. And I heard Paul Romano today talking about the ego. It's like he was saying, if you let your ego go rogue, like, the pursuit of fame, your ego will go rogue when fame and power are given. And the ego will divorce the soul in a way and engage in absolute depravity. That's why we're watching the stars and the celebrities fall, because fame is something that I don't believe humans can handle. And apparently superhumans as well, right? So you have to do a lot of, like, when people have like that ego that gets too big, they have to learn a lot of verbal gymnastics to play games with the law, because they end up breaking a lot of universal laws, God's laws. They enter into legal contracts and they learn how to maneuver them. But the ego will eventually drive a life into a ditch. It will shipwreck people. It'll be a train wreck, a flood of exposure and justice, ultimately justice. So, and when we see the fragments of this story, that's the thing. An original story will have its genesis, but then it gets copied down through generations, and that's okay as long as it keeps its original seeds of truth. It can be copied and edited just a little bit, just sometimes through the lens of culture sometimes. And I think about when you go to China and you get copies of things, for people who have been to China, they'll say, oh, do you want a good copy or do you want a mid copy? You're like, why would I want a mid copy? Give me a good copy of whatever you're copying, because they are masters at mimicking and copying, right, in their manufacturing. And, copyright be damned. They don't care. They're going to do knockoffs of designer stuff and all this stuff. So basically, this epic poem is a narrative poem, and it involves a time beyond a living memory. So that makes it epic. And for those that, engage in treason against the human family, there is justice for that, for going against the human family and harming the human family. So when we repatriate back to Abba, who is the cornerstone, the grand architect of the building project, the temple, right? There is restoration and jubilee. So I want to leave on that note. And we'll be talking more. Oh, remember I told you guys I was a barber? Let me tell you a quick story before we stop. I don't barber anymore because I loved it a lot. I thought it would be like a change for me to like kind of retire on and get out of, like, some of the nursing was just getting crazy. But I had an experience when I worked at a really amazing barbershop, and I was one of the first women. Like, I was the only woman at one point. And I loved the guys. We had like a little family. It was amazing. And I was older, and I would I would be kind of like a mother to everybody, right? And I'd make peanut butter and jelly. I would go to Trader Joe's and I'd stock up our little refrigerator with like peanut butter and jelly, stuff like that, bread, because a lot of times you don't have time to go and eat when you're cutting hair. You want to keep, as the customers come in, so you sometimes don't get lunch. So that's why I would make like peanut butter and jelly for the barbers. And we had a nice little, how you've been with a group of people and there was like this sweet spot for this particular year that we were all working together. Well, the owner, he asked me to move into a position of management. And, I had just gotten there. I was new. I just graduated from barber school, but I had treated the shop like it was, my dad's shop. I had a lot of respect for the shop owner. I loved him. And I just, I did everything that, I could think of to be a team player. And just, like I said, I was kind of like the matriarch of the shop. And one of the barbers, okay, and this is that thing that we're going to have to heal the division with the genders. So one of the barbers who had been there years, but he was like a professional bully, he was the bully of the shop. But he could cut hair like no other. Like he was amazing. Okay. He could cut hair, one hand tied behind his back, blindfolded. He could cut hair. He was so good. And when he realized that I was going to become the manager of the shop, because the owner asked me to do that, he started like this kind of campaign of sabotaging me. And it hurt a lot because I thought we had a good relationship, but he tried to blame me for something. Like it was a guy who came in with his son and he had one appointment for him, but he didn't have the appointment for his son. It was on a Saturday when, barbershops are super busy. So the barber that was going to cut the father's hair, he was like, I don't have space in my schedule to cut your son's hair. So the man like had a conniption. He got angry. He stormed out of the shop and, he knew the owner and everything. The owner wasn't there at the moment, but I was sort of floating as the manager, kind of starting it out. Well, this barber who had been there a longer time, he, looked at it as an opportunity to kind of sabotage me. So he let the owner know that a customer stormed out angry. And at the time, I was doing something else. Either I was cutting hair or I was somewhere cleaning the shop. And I didn't even know that this incident had happened. So the barber told the owner that I let it happen. I basically let a customer service issue just like slip through my fingers and I didn't take care of it. And he had to go outside and smooth it over. So basically, the owner of the shop was angry at me. He thought it was my fault. And I basically, at that point, I felt that this barber would really try to sabotage me. He was setting me up for a fall. And he would, he started doing really mean little things. He was mean to people, like a bully. So I had bought a lot of magazines, female magazines, like, In Style and all that. And I would bring them to the shop when I finished and I would set it up on the back, where the people would wait, because we'd have a lot of mothers that would come in to get their son's haircut. And we just had like men's magazines, like sports and stuff. And I thought it would be nice to have magazines for women too. Well, this barber, he like criticized me for bringing women's magazines into the shop. He was like, what is this? We don't need to have all these women's magazines. We need stuff that is like catered to men. And the way he said it, it was like really cruel. And I just felt like, wow, okay, he's starting to set me up. And I left before he could have done that, because I've learned from the best. My grandmother taught me, like, when things start to look bad like that, like, I'm in another, city, I don't have family. And even though I looked at these guys as my family, I could see that the setup was coming. So I got out before he could harm me professionally or whatever. So I just want to say, like, that was an incident that, it kind of put a damper on me, because I'm somebody who wouldn't want to, like, go from shop to shop. I just said I would only want to work at that shop. I wouldn't want to just go around to different shops. If anything, I would rather open my own shop if I were to do that. But I think I'm done with things like that anyway. I have found what I believe is my vocation. I believe that he is unfolding it. And I love doing this research, and I want to do some writing and other things that deal with this level of information. So I appreciate your prayers and support. I really do. I love you all so much. And, I just want to let you know that I will be coming back with more content like this. And, we can continue to look into these things together. I enjoy it. Like I said, I look at your comments and I love them. So if you've ever wanted to have fame and fortune, just know that a lot of this human condition is based on people wanting to be idolized and elevated. And we are learning a lot of lessons that this is not something that we should pursue, especially now. The stars are falling. Who would want to be one? I mean, I'm just saying. So I will continue thinking about these things and coming back to you as the topics will present themselves. And if you would like to tip your hostess, that is where you can do it. I want to thank you all for your sweet offerings and things that you're so sweet to me. I love this chatmosphere. That's right. Roxanne says we are meant to be equals. There you are. So thank you. That'll be it. It was a long one. I have so many notes that I miss sometimes some of the things I want to say, but I'll get back to them. We'll circle back, put a pin in some things, because we will go back over those things. Sequoia, you're really good at this, Jen. Keep going. Thank you. And you all are encouraging me, because I really love this. I want to do something like possibly write a book maybe, or produce a documentary on some of these things that I'm learning. I have so many books that are filled with notes and things I've been taking for more than 2 years about this Great Awakening and my experience. Like when I worked up in New York City, when the pandemic started, and all of that. So I'd like to eventually, get some stuff out like that. Thank you, Nixon. Good night to you. And this will be coming up, okay? The Book of Enoch, a book gathering. Okay. I will keep you posted on when. It'll be really soon. Okay. So we'll start with the Book of Enoch. We'll go through it together. You don't have to buy the book, of course. You can use an online source, and we'll do this together, and we will share the things that are being revealed to us at this time. So I thank you. Thank you, Norlene. Good night, fellow sojourners. That's right. Get you back home, tucked in bed. It is already the next day. Look at that. It's Tuesday. We've hung out late. But I will see you soon. If it's not tomorrow, sometimes I'll have to take some time to do other things, and then also fit in my research and preparation for the slides. So I like to bring you good images so that we can just take it in, right? So I will see you all possibly tomorrow. Love you. All right.